I think that with AI, we have a crisis. It's kind of an adaptation crisis. It's a crisis of time. It's too much change over a small period of time.
And regulation is always too slow.
Yeah,
So
the law always lags behind the speed of technology. That's always true. This will require an unprecedented level of clarity and how we want to respond to it. What I was trying to do in the TED Talk was just to lay out enough clarity, and there's a point in the slide where I just say, this is insane. And anybody who, if you're in China, if you're in France and you're building Mistral, if you're a mother of a family in Saudi Arabia who's invested in AI, like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are really facing the facts of the situation, it's not a good outcome for anybody. And the weird hope that I have is that if we can clarify the situation so much that people can feel and see what's at stake, that something else might be able to happen. And there's a kind of a different history of this, but I'm really inspired by the film The Day After. Do you know The Day After?
Mm-mm.
It was a film from 1982 about what would happen if the U.S.
Why do you know the day after?
It's actually 2 years before I was.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I watched it on YouTube actually when I was in college, and it had a profound impact on me because I couldn't believe it actually happened. It was an event in world history where maybe 82 or 83, it's like 7 p.m. primetime television. They aired a 2-hour-long movie about what would happen, fictionalized movie, about what would happen if the U.S. and the Soviet Union had a nuclear war. And they just actually took you through kind of the step-by-step visceralization of that story.
Yeah.
And it scared everybody. But it was not just scaring, it was more like, we all know this is a possibility. We have the drills. The rhetoric of nuclear war and escalation is going up. But even the war planners on Reagan's team said that the film really deeply affected them because before that, it was just numbers on spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm.
And then it suddenly became real. And then the director, Nicholas Meyer, who's now someone I know, he said in many interviews in his biography that when Reagan and Gorbachev did the first arms control talks in Reykjavik, he said the film had a large role in setting up the conditions for those talks. And that when the Soviet Union saw the film several years later, the Russian citizens were excited to learn that the people in the United States actually cared about this too.
Mm.
And so there actually is something that when we come together and we say there's something more sacred that's at stake, which is like, we all want our children to have a future. We all want this to continue. We love life. If we want to protect life and we want this to continue, then we got to do something about AI.